The Madrid government has sacked Catalonia's president and dismissed its parliament. A new election will be held in Catalonia on December 21st. Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy also fired the police chief and said central government ministries would take over the Catalan administration. The Catalan Regional Parliament voted to declare independence from Spain, with 70 parliamentarians out of 135 voting in favor of the referendum result. Thousands of pro-independence supporters poured into the streets of Barcelona to celebrate after the Catalan Parliament declared independence from Spain. They gathered in Barcelona shouting liberty in Catalan and singing traditional songs. The European Union continues to support the Rajoy government in the crisis. EU's President Donald Tusk said in a statement that Madrid remains the Union's only interlocutor, but Tusk has called on a dialogue between both the sides. UK's Prime Minister Theresa May's office said in a statement that Britain does not and will not recognize the unilateral declaration of independence made by the Catalan Regional Parliament. Germany, France, Colombia, Mexico, and the United States have also expressed support for Madrid. Colombia's president and Mexico's foreign minister called for unity and calm in Spain. Colombian government voiced its support for Madrid. In Mexico, Foreign Minister Luis Videgaray said Mexico would not recognize Catalonia's unilateral independence. The family of a young protester, Santiago Maldonado, was killed in Argentina. They have raised questions on the authorities investigating the case. The family has blamed the local authorities for his brother's death and called it a forced disappearance. Some government opposition and rights groups have said that state security forces took Maldonado after the police clashed with Mapuche Indians at the protest. They alleged that President Mauricio Macri's government covered up his whereabouts. Macri's government says there was no evidence showing security forces detained Maldonado. Violence broke out again in the opposition stronghold of Kisumu in western Kenya on Friday between protesters contesting the extended election that was planned initially to be held today. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has extended the presidential poll in Kisumu and 4 other cities. This due to violence that prevented the opening of polling stations and demonstrators on Thursday. Golfer Tiger Woods has been sentenced to a year's probation after he pleaded guilty to reckless driving. Woods was arrested in May after officers found him slumped at the wheel of his parked car not far from his home. A report found that Woods had several legal medications in his system and marijuana's active ingredient. As part of Friday's plea, he's required to attend a drug treatment program and undergo drug testing. The Syrian government has rejected a UN report that blamed it for the sarin gas attack in April, in which dozens were killed. Syria's foreign ministry said that the report had been compiled under instructions from the United States and other Western countries to put pressure on Syria. The sarin attack in April had prompted a U.S. missile strike against a Syrian airbase, which Washington said was used to launch the strike. After almost 4 decades, Air Berlin's last flight took off from Munich on Friday. Company employees gathered on the tarmac to wave off flight AB6210 to Berlin, some with tears in their eyes as they posed for photographs. Air Berlin had filed for administration in August. China indirectly opposed the latest U.S. sanctions on North Korea. Beijing reiterated its disapproval of countries using domestic law to impose sanctions on other countries outside the UNSC framework. Washington on Thursday imposed sanctions on 7 North Korean individuals and 3 entities for human rights abuses. Amid the Kurdish crisis, Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi on Friday announced a halt to movements by the armed forces in the Kurdish region for 24 hours. Abadi said that the pause aimed to give the opportunity to a joint technical committee A storm swept through central Argentina provinces, unleashing heavy rain and hail. The storm flooded roads and brought transport to a standstill. The downpour left some cars struck in snow, but no major damage has been reported so far. Argentina's National Meteorological Service warned of heavy storms and possible hail for Buenos Aires, with a number of other provinces. Myanmar's authorities have agreed to allow the United Nations to resume the distribution of food in the northern Rakhine state. Food aid was suspended for 2 months in the region, and the announcement came as UNICEF reported that the Rohingya children fleeing into Bangladesh were arriving close to death from malnutrition. Oscar-nominated actor and director Kenneth Branagh cements his position in Hollywood with the coveted Hand and Feet ceremony at Hollywood's TCL Chinese Theater. The actor receives the honor ahead of beginning promotions for the upcoming film adaptation of best-selling crime thriller author Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express. Multi-Grammy-winning late pop icon Prince's personal memorabilia goes on exhibit at London's O2 Arena, with over 200 items on display, including the singer's famous cloud guitar, notepads of handwritten lyrics, and his Purple Rain album cover costume. The exhibition will run until January 7th of next year. Speaking exclusively to WION, spiritual guru Sri Sri Ravi Shankar admitted that he mediated a meeting between Nirmohi Amhara and All India Muslim Personal Law Board representatives to see whether consensus can be built to solve the issue of the Ram temple in Ayodhya. He confirmed that he met religious leaders, and Ravi Shankar added that he has done it on his own volition and did not act on behalf of the government. He admitted that this time around a consensus could emerge which could heal the wounds. The last drill of exercise Indra 2017 will be carried out today in Russia, when the amphibious landing will take place. Exercise of landing of ground forces by the Indian and Russian armies will be conducted at Cape of Clerk Russian Naval Base. Exercise will be undertaken by Indian and Russian naval elements with air fire support. Gujarat's Chief Minister Vijay Rupani has demanded the resignation of Congress Rajya Sabha MP Ahmed Patel 2 days after one of the 2 alleged ISIS sympathizers arrested by the states was learned to be an employee of a hospital in Bharuch that Patel was associated with. Patel has denied the allegations and asked the Gujarat government not to politicize matters of national security for elections. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has ruled out the possibility of Bengaluru Development Minister KJ George resigning in the light of the FIR filed against him and 2 senior police officers by the CBI. The FIR was filed against KJ George in connection with the suicide of Deputy Superintendent of Police MK Ganapathy. Congress Party and Karnataka Chief Minister maintained that there was no necessity of KJ George resigning, as there were no fresh FIRs filed against him. The Supreme Court would hear on October 30th a plea filed by the Mamata Banerjee-led West Bengal government against the centre's move to make Aadhaar mandatory for availing the benefits of various social welfare schemes. The plea is listed for hearing before a bench comprising Justices A.K. Sikri and Ashok Bhushan. The Ministry of External Affairs has said that there are no new developments at the Doklam face-off site since August 28th's disengagement. The External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Ravish Kumar was responding to the media in New Delhi on reports of Chinese build-up at Doklam. He said that the status quo prevails in the area and any suggestion to the contrary is incorrect and mischievous. The 73-day face-off between the Indian and Chinese troops in Doklam started on June 16th and resolved on August 28th, with both sides pulling back troops and China stopping construction of a road which India had objected to. Bhutan and China have a dispute over Doklam. The Supreme Court has said that Blue Whale suicide challenge game is a national problem. The court has asked the government to get back to it within 3 weeks with a plan to ban the game that is believed to have driven many teens to suicide. This year, the court also said state-run broadcasters, Doordarshan and private TV channels must use prime-time slots to spread awareness about the deadly game. The government told the court that a group of experts are examining the blue whale problem and are expected to come up with a way of tackling it. In shooting, Sangram Daya became only the 4th Indian double trap shooter to win a World Cup Finals medal, as he took his silver in his debut appearance in the elite tournament. Daya had qualified for the 6-man final in first place with a remarkable score of 144 in the qualifying match. He managed 76 out of a possible 80 in the final, but was pipped to the gold by China's Hu Binyuan, who shot a finals world record score of 79.